Right, hello. This is going to be a small tutorial to help out all the people that struggle to play against people that spam walls on the one hand and that struggle on positioning on the other hand. And I'm gonna do some explanations on that. Prepared all the trained stuff. Okay, so what most people are flaming is people that do this. You see this a lot at the moment. I'm gonna delete pillars because it's easier. And then ideally the opponent does the same. And you both end up having this, okay? So you both end up having a shit ton of walls, and people get very upset. People are like, dude, I have my units here. This is just not fun. You can't flank anything, right? Okay, so I'm gonna tell you how to play against this, and why it isn't actually insanely difficult, but maybe annoying. However, the wall playstyle is a good playstyle. It protects you. And you shouldn't say something is bad or annoying when it's simply skill. What I hear people say is, "Oh, it's not skill to do this. It's like I just see people spam walls like that." But look at this wall. This is shit, right? These walls are good, and you need to take some time for them. So what you want to do is two things. On one hand, you want to have mortars behind your own side walls. Yes, I know having mortars out is something new for some people, but you want to have one mortar on each side, slowly. Okay, it's my walls, so I can't do that, but slowly right-clicking his walls. And what do you do so he doesn't just respam them? Exactly, you bring your own ones. I know, it's more walls, but that's the way. If you build a wall in this spot, he can't. And you get free position, and you can flank. So despite having all your units fighting, you need to take care of your position by doing this. Also, this kind of forces you, if both players do this, to have culverins on the sides to keep the mortars away. But that's a whole different story. So, playing walls is a good thing, do it. Playing against walls is also a good thing, use mortars, okay? So far about the walls. What we're gonna do next is positioning. There's quite some people that don't know what I mean when I say good positioning. So it starts with your FB, alright? What you want to have is, I'm just going to use Russia as an example because they build so quickly, flank stables. Flank stables are strong. And you want to either have 2 or 3 Raxes, in this case blockhouses. What you don't want to have is something like this. This is shit. Units are going to get stuck, you're going to have units only from one side. This is really bad, okay? So what you want to have is a certain order. Maybe even artillery foundries like this behind. Okay? This is where positioning starts. Step 2 is waypoints. You hotkey your stuff. And now what you could do is set the waypoints, 3 different points, and oh, I didn't get church upgrades. It's bad. Whatever though. And you just let them train. So you can this way you're gonna have a nice spread, kinda. You see units are going different spots. This is kind of an okay thing to do because your units kind of line up, you know? The bad thing is you don't feel the need to redo this. So what I do instead is forget this one, and I just send them all to one spot. This looks bad, right? What is this bubble? So what you do is you constantly switch it around. You keep moving it. Oops. There. And then you fix it with your mouse. So what I see many people do is, oh, that move this, and that move here, and they will stack up like a ball whenever there's enemy units. That doesn't work. What you want to do is you want to somehow create a line of units. If your opponent has artillery, maybe in this position, oh, I can actually train it myself, I guess. Give me a second. You want to have a defensive rainbow. What that means is you take the flanks like a U, and don't allow the Horsa to get crazy value, okay? I'm gonna show you that. Mortars always on the side. Also, the mortars are just 8 pop, right? And if you get a good position from that, then the 8 pop investment is amazing. Alright, so the opponent has a line of units here, and he has probably more than one horse out, right? But I'm just gonna use this one to show. What you don't want is this Z move, and it bubbles up, and you let him shoot. And you're like, I can't lose position. I can't. I can't go back. And you just get shredded. What you do instead is, what I said, you back up, force him forward. What happens is most opponents feel the need to advance their horse out now, which could be a good thing, but many people move up badly. So if you make them move up your horse out to this point to hit this mass, and I don't know how they move the infantry, but maybe, assuming this was their infantry now, they would just move it up to this point. What this does is it allows you to flank. So you use your stables and send cav around. On the one hand, maybe you get the artillery, but you have a different goal at this point. What you do is you flank these skirms. These skirms are super vulnerable now to cav. Easy surrounding. And what does that do? When he sees that the skirms are getting shredded, his horse out immediately gets out of position. So what you do is you use all your infantry. You move it up. If you want, you can put it in this mode. And then you just right-click the artillery. What's supposed to happen? These skirms are currently getting destroyed by cav, can't really shoot anything. Right-click artillery, and immediately the aggressor is forced back. Maybe even your own artillery is popping out at that time. And you can start a counter push. But remember, counter pushing relies on the walls, so always sidewall, otherwise you get calf screwed like this. This is what you don't want to have. Oops. Opponent is making a musketeer. So that is actually the main thing. Getting wrecked by calf on the flanks is something that I see a shit ton of people have. Obviously in super intense games you can't always micro all your units, that's not what I'm asking for. But there's one big thing I want to take care of. And that's the topic goons, or cabbages, whatever unit you have. So, you did make 10 cabbages, right? Your opponent keeps making calf, you're like, I need some constant anti-calf. And maybe you have some musks, that's not the point. But you have these cabbages, right? So many people just spam them to one side and just kind of let them fight, you know? But what people can abuse is that these cabbages can auto-attack a different unit, and then you spam cav on them, and they still die. Like, what? How did that happen? Well, because the unit isn't shooting the one it should shoot. So how do you fix that? Two ways to fix it. If you want to fix the position of your cav archers, you drag box all your infantry and cav archers and move them back. It immediately moves them back and protects them, basically, since they're more valuable than your skirms. If you then attack move, they will attack the first unit, and it will be cav. What I personally do a lot as well, because I don't always want to reposition my entire army, is when a cab arrives, you surely want to move them back a little, right? You don't want a cab to just get free attack, but you just right click your goons onto cab. And it's going to be 6 times as efficient. You could say the same about skirms. So microing skirms onto musketeers and goons is only possible when you have, well, musketeers isn't really ever possible. Goons is sometimes possible, depending on the game. But that is not what I'm asking for. Also, having skirms shooting goons is not going to be the most effective trade of all time. Sure, you benefit from it, but it's not going to snowball big time. What snowballs big time is when you allow his cav to tank all the shots from your skirms while your cav archers are shooting I don't know what, and his entire infantry gets value. Meanwhile, his cav is also an expensive unit, and the longer it stays alive, the more value he gets. So shooting cav is the most important counter type unit you want to have. The second one is the opposite. Get your cav on skirms. 2 skirms are worth more resources than 1 cav unit. Facts. Well, maybe not Strelets, right? But normal European skirms. So if you allow your opponent to get this kind of flank where you force him back, or maybe he doesn't even micro, he loses all the skirms. Happens a lot as well to me. That's a shit ton of value. I hear many people say, dude, for example, in RE with Dutch, dude, I can't use Huss, they're too expensive to drain my eco. I have to make skirms and riders. Again, 2 skirms are going to be more resources than a Hussar. If the Hussar is good, he gets more value. Don't fear to make the correct type. There is no rule in treaties saying you need 60 skirms, otherwise the game doesn't work. You need 60 infantry, the game doesn't work otherwise. If you see someone have 50 skirms, spam 20 cav. Do it. You don't do it like Anton. You don't constantly spam 20 cav. You counter the army of your opponent. That's the main point, okay? And if someone comes at you with the Horsard, you don't fear to move back either. It's worth it. Don't let your army get shredded for free. Position, sure, but it isn't worth all your units. You move back, you let them go forward, and then you try to make a comeback with units. You don't need 8 culverins to take care of 4 horse artillery. There is maybe 2 or 3 players that know how to protect the artillery properly when pushing. There is a very, very, very high chance you can just, well, you can do this, you move back, and then you spam cav on the sides, you move your infantry on the side, and you just right-click artillery. And your opponent is super screwed immediately. Okay? So that was positional tutorial, and also the wall and mortar tutorial. Hope I could help some people. Maybe even just to understand what I mean by positioning. In my opinion, the best is to always reset waypoints. Just get used to constantly redoing them and remicroing your units as well. It's worth the clicks. And it's not like people are too slow to do it, I think. You just need to get used to it, as it is with everything. And with that being said, goodbye.